Good afternoon. My name is Alonso Davila-Buenrostro, and today I'm going to be presenting my revenue management term project. The individual who I interviewed was Patrick Farrell. Patrick Farrell attended Western Illinois University from 2005 to 2009 and graduated with a Bachelor of Art major in history. However, after graduating college, Patrick Farrell was working in a restaurant as a part-time. A couple of his coworkers slash friends that he met through college were also working at the restaurant and decided to move to the hotel industry. He decided to move with them as well, as it was a better paying job and the hours being offered worked better with his schedule. At his current job, he was working overnight shifts from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. and the hotel was offering day shifts or afternoon shifts. Patrick Farrell started as a front desk agent employee at Fairmont. As time went on, he started to try out different departments to see what he liked best, from managing room cleaning service to managing the front desk. This is a work experience history of Mr. Farrell. As I mentioned in the slide previously, he did start as a front desk agent. Eventually, he did get promoted to become an assistant front office manager, which he was in charge for a little bit over 2 years and a half. He eventually got promoted to reservation manager as he was putting good numbers and was really well in booking and reserving for guests for future dates. He was always interested in learning the different departments. At one time, they asked him if he wanted to work in the revenue management department. He said yes, and he decided to take the position, and then eventually became director of revenue management in Berkeley. And he was doing very well, and they decided to relocate him to San Francisco. Now he is the director of revenue management and e-commerce. He manages 3 locations. A little bit about the Fairmont history of hotels and resorts. They were originally founded in 2001. However, some hotels were already built a lot way before that. They were originally owned by Canadian Pacific Hotels and Resorts. 2001, that's when Fairmont bought those hotels and put their name under them. There are currently over 70 properties worldwide. They are known for leading luxury hotel brand. Their mission statement is Fairmont would apply our principles to the work we do to enhance the genuine experience of our colleagues and guests and promote a rich cultural exchange within the communities in which we operate to ensure positive benefits transpire. Just to summarize their mission statement, it's pretty much making sure the guest feels comfortable as they were to stay at their home, providing the perks as great customer service, room service as well, providing a high food quality in the restaurants there is inside the location. And the image on the right, it is the San Francisco location, one of the locations he currently manages. That location is very well known as it turns moments into memories from business travels and is one of the most known for Fairmont actually. Who oversees all the revenue management tasks in the company? Patrick Farrell did mention that it just varies by each company and the system they have. Particularly, Fairmont has a very small team that splits up all the revenue management tasks. It typically sets up starting from the corporate side, which is the boss of Patrick Farrell, and then it ties down to him, and then he shares those tasks that have to be completed to the general managers in his 3 locations, which are San Francisco, Claremont, and Sonoma. Between the general managers, they do have a list that they have to complete, like a checklist day to day. And he did mention that the basic things you would imagine a revenue manager would do, it's looking at what's booking, what's available and maximizing the inventory. And then what are the factors that influence the price position? It is difficult now because typically before COVID, a lot of had to do with the history of the property, typically seen during the season. Nowadays, a little bit different with COVID that it is kind of not knowing what's going to happen with all these new variants and lockdowns that have been occurring in the past. So now it just depends on how quickly you're able to sell your product and how much resistance there is to your price. So one thing that Patrick does differently is that you might hear a ton of people talk about what the market is selling. Patrick instead is a big proponent of not paying too much attention to the people down the street, such as he doesn't particularly care if Marriott down the block is selling for one price. If you could sell the room for a higher price, then he's going to do that. Pays more attention to what price the customer base moves the inventory and achieving the maximum yield for his properties. And how has staffing been after the pandemic? Overall, it has been tough as there has been positions that he's interviewed applicants and no one really catches his attention. And the other side, there's been openings that have been listed for months and no one has applied for it. He's been fortunate enough to not have anyone leave his team this year or last year. So focusing on sales, on revenue, your skills are pretty transferable. So if you're working in a big hotel, it won't be as hard to find another job in a different location if you were to get laid off. And my learning reflection. To start off, revenue management tasks are actually divided among a group of people. I always assume it was just one individual who had to focus and worry about completing these tasks. Secondly was the revenue management team has a system what movements have to be made when a new variant of COVID-19 comes out. As he mentioned that he does have a team. So whenever there's a variant coming out, he does have to change his tactic on lowering the prices and seeing what could be done to increase the bookings per room. And lastly, the pandemic has created a lot of remote jobs and a lot of opportunities have been created, such as Patrick Farrell is living in Chicago, his hometown, working remotely from there, and he does manages 3 locations here on the West Coast, and he only has to travel down once a month, and that's something that he's been fortunate enough that the COVID-19 has brought. And that is the end of our presentation, and thank you very much for listening.